Good evening, everyone. It is May 29th, 2023. Let's get right into this. Let's recap last week. We had a new external trading hours high of the year made right on Monday. Saved the bid around last week's point of control and last week's close, but from there we just trended down, had our liquidation sell off on Tuesday, and I was saying that. On whatever that was, Tuesday after hours or whatever, the Wednesday pre-market, I can't remember. Bulls had about 250 points of downward pressure when we were trading at 700ish. I was saying, until we break 500, I'm not really very concerned at all. And we end up once again for pretty much the fourth week in a row. This week it was not the exact low, but it was right around it. Last week's VWAP close once again became support. We were supporting last week's average prices. So that's the fourth week in a row that has occurred. Notably, also trading right around the bear market, half back, right around the April-May 2022 balance highs, all that sort of stuff. After hours on that Wednesday session, I believe it was Wednesday, we had the NVIDIA earnings come out, which were astronomical. We had that huge move up, 250-point move up, and the liquidation that we tried to have on the open the next session was just bid up. We held it once again around that Tuesday lows that were returned on Tuesday. We held it again on that Thursday session and just continued to move up, getting a huge, whatever the hell this is, like 500-point move up again. There was a gap here that would not close for a very long time between 287 and 311. We managed to close that. So it's a very, very, very bullish week. Holding where we wanted to see the bids show up and then just squeezing above that major gap that had not been able to close for several sessions. Closing above weekly value area high, closing above the second standard deviation of VWAP, and above that April balance high. I wanted to actually show that. Let's get a big view here. Let's zoom out. We closed above this. That's what I'm talking about. We closed above this, and we salvaged the bid right here. This April-May balance high. That's where we salvaged the bid inside of that August swing high. Got back above that August swing high, and made it above these swing highs. We're getting into some pretty the all-time high is not looking too far away, and I'm sure everyone's looking at that. Let's take it level to level. This will be the high time frame target is right around 15,000 moving on. And let's get into what I'm looking at for next week coming. Here we go. Now, I want to see 13,850-ish held for that hyper bid momentum. That being right around the weekly VWAP close, right around the weekly point of control, and where we sort of salvaged it from Tuesday sell-off and then Wednesday overnight, and then Thursday salvaging it for that further bid upwards. Important to note that we have had, and maybe this makes more sense if I hide all these and just put on a weekly chart here. We have had higher lows and higher highs every single week for what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, right? Since the end of April, we've had higher lows and higher highs every single week. So now, in order to gauge momentum, what I'm going to be looking for on the downside is one, how do we react when we get to last week's VWAP close, that 850-ish number? Or more importantly, what happens when we get to these lows here, that prior week's low? If we lose it, I'm actually going to delete this over here. If we lose this, that is a major shift in momentum, and we start to get into this this balance high, this April, May-ish balance high area. If I maybe go like this, you can see what I'm talking about. If we start to lose this, if we break prior week's low for the first time in 5 weeks or whatever I just said it is, I think we come back and we start visiting this 300 area, 311. And if we lose that, it looks like a liquidation scenario down to 13,000, if not lower. So that's I'm looking at the downside. To the upside, this thing is just a rocket. I want ideally we see a hold of 14,311. I really doubt that is the scenario. It would be fine to come back to last week's VWAP close sort of area around that 14,018 or sorry, where we had that external trading hours high, another external trading hours high, and then that Thursday high. That would be great if we could hold that as well. Totally fine with us coming down to the 800s. We start getting below there, and it's not as great. If we lose the 700 area, we're coming back below that same August swing high. And if we get below this number here. You're getting back inside that April-May balance, and more importantly, you're losing the prior week's low, which again we have not done in 5 weeks now. Already, if we're looking at the external trading hours, we have made a higher high. So now I'm looking for us to hold above this low. So that'll be a gauge of momentum for me. Um, Other than that, not much to say. Taking this level to the upside, 623. What is that? Just looking at my charts here, that zone is right around last week's third standard deviation of VWAP. You've got the 87% value area high from last year, right around 623. Above there was a huge gap, a 130-point gap from 650 to 780. I would like to see if we could hold around that 800 number. And then above there, you have the 91% of prior year's VWAP or value area at 910. So we start getting in, we start flirting with that high time frame level around 15,000-ish to 15,250. So for now, I think it'd be great to test anywhere between 14,000 and 13,800. Test this sort of giant area. Hopefully, we do not have to break these lows. Hopefully, we hold a bid somewhere here. Maybe fill out this 14,000 to 14,300 area, and then the week after we can get moving on. Important to note, once again, lots of news this week. Not too major like consumer confidence, but Wednesday, JOLTS, Harker, Beige Book, ADP, NFEC, non-farm employment change on Thursday. A lot more data, and then Friday, the big one, NFP. It's getting long. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. And going to be taking it day by day this week. No major predictions. Have a great night and trade safe.